Hi, this is Captain Drew Cavanaugh here, and today I'm going to show you how to make a red bean soup that's going to be used one of two different ways or two ways. What we're going to do is we're going to take all the ingredients here that I have. I've got tomato, lemon, baby zucchini, Cavanaugh pepper, pimento sweet pepper, red bell pepper, sweet onion, jalapeno, cloves of garlic, some fresh yellowfin tuna that a colleague of mine gave me, and different spices. I'm not able to grow fresh red beans, so what I'm going to do is just use some Goya red beans here. Be nice if I could grow it. Different spices, parsley flakes, cumin, some just spices that you can buy. You can do this recipe different ways, some chili powder and so on. Olive oil, of course. Olive oil goes good with everything. And the way this recipe is going to work is this way. What we're going to do is we're going to make enough for 1 or 2, 3 servings maybe. This isn't a massive amount. And crackers, by the way, Goya crackers. The goal here is to do this. I'm going to take a saucepan, you know, not big, you can see how big it is. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to make a soup with the red beans, and we're going to reduce it down to a soup that you can eat for 1 or 2 people. And what I'm going to do is this recipe I started a while ago. I experimented with it, and you can try this a few different ways. One way I do it is you make the soup and you eat the soup as you want to eat it. When you eat the soup, you can do a couple different things. On top of it, you can put some cheese on top of it, crumbled cheese, some sour cream, whatever. You know, that's the nice thing about making this recipe. You can do it to where and what you like on it. During the holidays, Christmas time, I sometimes put cinnamon in it. Just a little tiny dash. And I don't know what happened that day I did that, but it turned out good. You can also put, instead of the lemon, you can put some orange juice in it to sweeten it up. You can put lime juice in it to sweeten it up. The other thing that I'm going to use that is frozen, that normally I don't do, I just don't have any corn, some sweet corn. You're going to need a little bit of yellow sweet corn. It doesn't matter what it is, bird's eye, whatever, and so on and so forth. So the first thing that you're going to do here, the yellowfin tuna is going to be part of the 1 or 2 ways. If you just make the soup and you're going to just eat it as soup, then you need the yellowfin tuna. I actually call these yellowfin tuna medallions. What I'm going to do is we're going to make the soup. Say the soup's all done. And what I do is I take one of these crackers here, these Goya crackers. I take the cracker out. I put the cracker on a plate, put it down. I take some soup, put it on top of there. I thinly slice a piece of yellowfin tuna, put it on top of there. And then from there, your choices are, your options I should say, are unlimited. What you can do is put some cheese on it. You can put some hot sauce on it, some salsa on it. It doesn't matter. And you eat those almost as you would as an appetizer. And believe me, it is to die for. So again, we've got here all the ingredients. The first thing that we're going to need to do this recipe, and the spices are, you know, very simple. And you can change this up to what you like. Doesn't matter. If you notice, there's no salt in here. I'm going to avoid the salt. The only salt that's going to be in here is this ingredient right here. This is just a little, you know, different kind of spices I buy. You can put some sea salt in there or something like that, or you don't have to use anything. When you make this recipe, take all the ingredients that are fresh, make it, and whatever you like to put in it, try it, experiment. The worst thing that's going to happen, you know what, is you mess it up. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to dice up the yellow sweet onion, and we're going to dice up the garlic, and we're going to dice up the jalapeno pepper here, and we're going to put about some olive oil in there to taste, enough to sear the onions up and all that kind of stuff. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of water and some spices, And you're gonna need to chop up all the rest of the ingredients. The tomato, listen, if you don't have tomatoes, you can buy a can of diced tomatoes and they will work just as fine. The ingredients that I have here, this is from my garden, this is from my garden, this is from my garden, this is from the garden, and this is from the garden. And the fish is obviously from a colleague that caught it. So pretty much everything's pretty fresh and all that good stuff. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to dice everything up and we'll do the next step here. Okay, what I've done here is I have chopped up the peppers. And what I did is, my goal here tonight was I'm going to make the medallions, the yellowfin tuna medallions, like appetizers. And I'm going to mainly use it as that, and I'll eat some of the soup. What I did is I took basically half the peppers. There was no reason to use them all, you know. And I'll save those for either breakfast. You can put them in your bacon and eggs or whatever. You know, there's the bell pepper, or the pimento pepper, sorry. They look like a bell pepper. I cut up everything, took half the onion, half this, half that. And what I did is I cut everything up. It looks really good here. The color is great, all that good stuff. And you really can't go wrong with it. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to put some olive oil in the pan. Excuse me, enough to pan sear all these. When I put the olive oil in there, we're going to pan sear this. We're going to add a little bit of the spices. Now at this point in time, this is where experimentation will be on you. Some people like up, some people like down. So with that said, if you don't want the jalapeno in there, don't add it. If you don't want the onion in there, don't add it. I've made this dish quite a few times and I've put different things in there each time. So the goal here is to experiment with different things that you like and go from there. You cannot mess this up. Let me tell you what, this is one of the best dishes. And the good thing is that the family can get in there and do it. The kids can enjoy helping you cut stuff up, do this and that, and you will enjoy it. So let's go ahead and get the oil sear going. Okay, we got the oil going here, the olive oil going. We're getting ready to add the peppers, the cubano peppers, the pimento sweet peppers, the onion, and then the garlic. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and push in all the ingredients. Now I wanted to just show you one thing here real quick. Push all that in there. Now I like to take a whole clove of garlic, and at times some of my knives, or you can even take a razor, and you want to shave that stuff down so paper thin that it is just to die for. So we'll put the garlic in there, clove of garlic, half clove, whatever, you know. Again, this is to taste. Add the ingredients that you like. You know, experiment with it. Try it one time and you may say, well, that turned out very bad. I didn't like that. So what we're going to do is let this pan sear for maybe 5 minutes or so. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to finish chopping up the celery. We're going to take the tomatoes. We're going to crush them, puree them, whatever, get them down to a fine chop. You can chop them up if you want to try that a few times, make chunks. And then we're going to cut up the baby zucchini, and then I'm going to cut the lemon in half, and then we'll go to the next step here. Okay, everything's searing up really nice like. You can see the onions and the peppers and the garlic, and let me tell you what, the flavor is just to die for. Now the only other thing that I'm going to throw in here is this spice right here, made by Goya. Let the camera get a good picture of that. I throw one packet in there whenever I make this. And also the other thing I wanted to say, you can either use a red bean or black bean. I'm going to make red bean this time. The black bean's just as good. I think the only difference is the maybe the sodium content or something, the color. But you can see the color's coming out just great. Like I said, the best way is just to experiment. You can add more olive oil throughout when you need to, or whatever, extra virgin olive oil. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to start to add some of the spices. And the first one I'm going to do is just add some chili powder. No rhyme or reason, just a little bit like that. Some parsley. Some cumin. It all depends on taste. Now, if you wanted to put in some pepper, some paprika, so on and so forth, that's your call. This is a spice I get from the local grocery store here. It's a spice that's specially made in the area. So we'll stir that in. You can see the color coming out there. So what we're going to do is we're going to let that sear for about 2 or 3 more minutes. We're going to go ahead and puree the tomatoes. And I'm going to add about a cup of water to this. I've got the zucchini and the celery all chopped up right here. The baby zucchini and the celery. I'm going to put that in there with a cup of water. That little packet of spices right here. And the tomatoes. And then we're going to add the beans. And then we're going to add eventually some corn. Not much corn. And we're going to let that simmer for anywhere between 20 to, the nice thing about this recipe is depending on what you put the temperature on, to a couple hours. I'm a big believer in good things come to those who wait. So let me get to that and we'll get right back to you. Okay, so let's go ahead and add the rest of the ingredients. One of the things that we can do is we're going to add the celery and the baby zucchini. Now, if you don't want to use zucchini or celery, put carrots in there. Put yellow squash in there. Put whatever you want in there. That's the nice thing about this recipe, is you can experiment with it and you can do whatever you like. I understand not everybody likes everything. I'm going to put mushrooms in there. Why not? We're going to add a cup of water, 8, 9 ounces, whatever, just a little solo cup here. Put that in there. We're going to take this packet of spices here, add it, and it's just a mixture of the same ingredients we've been adding there. It'll just add some color and some flavor. You don't have to use that. You can if you want. We're going to stir that in. Now the next thing we're going to do is, in about 2 minutes, we're going to reduce the heat. The heat right now is on about a medium high. We're going to reduce the heat to about medium low or whatever, and we're going to let this simmer. I'm going to add the tomatoes, and in about 10 minutes we're going to put the corn in there, because the corn's a starchy product and it'll thicken it up. And the goal is here to reduce this to not like a paste, but to enough to where if you're spooning it on the crackers and everything, it's not runny and all that good stuff. I mean, it's going to be the Goldilocks effect. I use this with my clients when they cast a fish. I say it's got to be the Goldilocks cast. It's got to be just right. So we'll get to that and I'll get right back to you. Okay, we've added the tomatoes. We've added all the ingredients, the spices, everything. We're going to squeeze a half lemon in there. If you want to put a whole lemon in there, go for it. It doesn't really matter. At times, like I said, I put the orange in there. It sweetens up, like during the holidays. I'll add a little bit of cinnamon and some orange, and it's amazing how it adds, or just changes the taste just a little bit. Who cares about the seeds? You can pick them out. You want that sucker fresh. This is off my lemon tree. I've got a lemon and lime tree here. It's a nice thing about living in Florida. So squeeze that sucker in there. If you want, you could even throw the whole peel in there, and just when you're done, just pull it out. It just adds to flavor. So I'll put that in there, and in about 2-3 more minutes we'll add the beans. and then we'll add the corn. And what we'll do is we're just going to let that simmer. We're going to reduce that heat and let it just simmer for about an hour or so. You know what, you can play it by ear. Let instinct take over. Right now we've been doing this about 20 minutes, maybe 15, 20, 22 minutes, 25 minutes, whatever. That's the nice thing about making something like this. It's not like making a steak where you throw it on the grill and it's like, holy cow, you can't let it cook for 2 hours, it'll be burnt, you know. This type of food is fun, enjoy it, and it makes it exciting. So let's go to the next step here. Okay, now let's add the beans, and then after that what we're going to do is we're just going to let it sit there maybe 2-3 minutes, and I'll put the corn in there. Listen, you can't go wrong with corn. Who doesn't like corn? So we're going to put the corn in there. We're going to let it sit for, I don't know, a while. We're going to stir it every now and then. Go have a nice glass of wine, water, whatever you wanted to do. Listen to some good music, talk to your friends, come back, and you will know when it's done. It will look just perfect. And then what we'll do is we'll get the yellowfin tuna out. We're going to thin slice it. We'll get the crackers out. We'll put that sucker on there, and we'll eat it, and it'll be good. Some good appetizer or hors d'oeuvres, whatever you want to call it. The other thing I wanted to say about this is when you're doing this, the ingredients that I used, the basics are the cumin, the chili powder, the jalapenos, the onions, the peppers, whether it's bell, the yellow peppers, the green peppers, the sweet peppers, whatever. If you want to mix it up and put in some bay leaf, some thyme, some paprika, whatever, just experiment, try it. I can't stress that enough. I've done that so many times I forget even what I do sometimes, but this is the way this one's going, and believe me, it's going to be to die for. So let's put the beans in there, pour the whole beans in there, and we'll stir them around. And I'm pretty sure the Goya brand is found everywhere, at least I think. You know what, it might just be a Florida thing, but I'm pretty sure they're found everywhere. I like their products. They make a lot of good products for the Hispanic Latin culture. And if not, you can go to a local market and get this product. And look at the color of that. That sucker is just turning out great. And what I'm going to do here in a minute, I'm going to squeeze the rest of that lemon in there. And the flavor, you ought to, I wish there was smell-o-vision, because if you could smell this, you'd be like, that smells good. So let's let this simmer, and we'll get back here in a little bit. We'll do the final touches, and I'm willing to bet that you're hungry. All right, let's go ahead and add some corn. Like I said, not much, just enough to I don't know, almost brighten it up a little bit. You see those pieces in there, and it just makes it look good. Maybe holds it together. Think of it like cinder blocks or whatever. And right now at the clock, we're at about maybe 25 minutes into it, 27 minutes into it. Let's let this simmer. If you put the heat up, it would be done in 10-15 minutes. If you put the heat on low, you could push that out to an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. And I personally believe the longer I cook it, the better it turns out. It reduces everything, just the flavors and the taste, just everything combines, and it just works so much better. Okay, we're about 45 minutes into it, maybe 50-55 minutes, give or take, 10-15 minutes there, and she's thickening up really good there. I mean, you can see. Look at that stuff. The tomatoes are just starting to fall apart. Baby zucchini right there, the corn, the beans. Everything's starting to come together. You have no idea how good it smells. So we're going to let this go a little bit longer. Let's go ahead and just squeeze in the rest of this lemon. Like I said, you cannot go wrong with this recipe. You cannot mess it up. The only thing that you can mess up with it is if you put the heat up too high and just let it burn. So your best bet if you're new to this, go slow. Just let it go slow. And that will give you reaction time and all that good stuff. Yeah, if you put the heat up too high, anything will burn. So let that go, and we'll check back in a few minutes, and we'll go from there. Okay, folks, this is the finished product. We finished the soup. We let it simmer. It reduced itself, and what you did is you just took some. We thinly sliced the tuna, the yellowfin tuna. You can see it. Put it on the cracker. We put the soup on top of it, a little bit of spoonful each one. Put some cheese on it. It doesn't matter if it's cheddar, blue cheese, gorgonzola, whatever. No cheese, that's fine too. It's up to you. Like I said, experiment with it. You could put sour. The only thing I was thinking earlier, I want some sour cream on top of that sucker. And there you go. You're all done, and you have the finished product. So I hope that everybody enjoys this and take pleasure in the cooking and just have fun with it. You can't go wrong. If you mess up, you mess up. It's not like building a house or the end of the world's going to happen, you know. You start over the next day. So until then, everybody have a great night. Thank you.